Amen. Acts chapter number 14. Acts chapter number 14, beginning reading with me at verse number 8. What does it say? And there sat a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet. Okay? Being crippled from his mother's womb. How long had he been crippled? From the time he was born, from his mother's womb, who had never walked. He had never, Trajan, he had never walked. He didn't lose his ability, he just never had it. He had never walked. And the same heard Paul speak, whom steadfastly beholding him and perceiving that he had faith to be healed. He saw him in the situation, Germania, but what he saw in him was he at least had the faith for God to fix his feet. Maybe I'll come back to that. He had faith for God to fix his feet. And he said unto him with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet. And he did what? And he leaped and he walked. And he leaped and he walked. At the word of the man of God, he leaped. He didn't look at his circumstance. He didn't look at his inabilities, but he looked at his abilities. And he leaped and he walked. And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in speech of Laconia, watch this, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. God is going to do something in this leap year, in this season, that's going to cause people to see you in a different light. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. He said with a loud voice, I'm going to go back and take the majority of my sermonic concentration to verse number 10 as we dive in. It says, and he said, Hardy, with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet. And what did he do at the word of the man of God? He leaped and he walked. Now, that may not sound like a whole lot of anything this morning to amount to a whole lot of anything to you, but this morning, in brief, for the sake of momentary information, dissemination, dare I say clarification or verification, look down your row, let a neighbor know, say, neighbor. Come on, if you wasn't going to talk to him, you shouldn't have sat next to him. Say, hey, neighbor, here's the word for us. Say, in this moment, we must decisively choose to leap like we have nothing left to lose. We must leap like we have nothing left to lose. Look down your road, let your neighbor know. Say, whatever you do, make sure you choose this year to leap like you have nothing left to lose. And if I were this morning, Mampu, to use a very myopic subtopic, I would say, and when you leap, just keep walking, because it's working. Look at your neighbor and say, just keep walking. Just Joanne, just keep walking, because it's working. Trajan, just keep walking, because it's working. Lady Hosley, just keep walking. Just whatever you do, just keep walking, because walking is working. Leap like you've got nothing left to lose. Okay, 20 minutes. Here we go. Now, people of God, this week, as I awaited and anxiously anticipated what the Lord would give me to speak in what I consider to be Lady Hosley Part 3 in this seemingly impromptu leap year sermonic series. What became almost obvious to me is that leaping is really not contingent. Cooper, you're going to help me through this thing today. Leaping is really not contingent, nor is it based on how you feel. Because to be honest, sometimes you just don't feel like leaping, right? It's not based on how you feel. It's not based on how you feel, but it must be an actual, it must be a factual, it must be a covenant and conceptual act of your internal will. Y'all gonna help me? In fact, when considered, it's really not all that deep. Can I tell you? What I'm going to tell you today, Joanne, is really not all that deep. It's really not all that deep. You've just got to make it up in your mind and be readily resigned, as well as intentionally inclined that this year it is indeed your predestined time to leap. In fact, in this moment, Wendy, it's essential, or dare I say it's imperative for the purpose of this declarative narrative, that each of you understands, in light of what we're expected to experience in the days at hand, that there literally, Hosley, can be no more waiting. There can be no more waiting. There can be no more cranially contemplating. There can be no more doubtfully debating, no more mentally marinating, no more investigating or evaluating. This is your year to leap. There can be no more hesitating. There can be no more procrastinating, because this is indeed, Brother Jeff, your year to leap. You see, let's just be clear and remember that this is leap year. This is leap year, and for any of us to move in a manner that is tentative may also put you in a place or a space where what God has purposed for you or what God has purposed for us is preventative. Okay, let that marinate on the mortal membranes of your minds for just a moment. I said, if in this year you act in a manner that is tentative, it may mean that whatever God promised to do for you or he's purposed to do for you will be extremely preventative. Are y'all hearing me? Believers, this year, let's be clear, we must begin to move with what I'm going to call God's intentionality. We must move with God's intentionality in order for certain things to become our reality. Look at your neighbor if they even look sleepy and say, hey, I need you to get that. I need you to get that. Say, don't play me off. Say, you need to move with intentionality for certain things to become your reality. Believers, if from your attachment to your previous season of stagnancy, if to your previous season of insecurity or your previous season to a daughter toy of inadequacy, you now understand that you must be severed. From your season of stagnancy, Mom LaSure, I am sure from your season of stagnancy, you must be severed and very literally leaping to the next level of your life. If leaping to the next level of your life is your most earnest endeavor, then I believe that your attitudinal disposition in this time is to employ or definitively deploy what I consider to be an act of desperate measure. If going to the next level, it won't be accidental. In going to the next level, it cannot be coincidental. It must be intentional. And watch this. And if it is your endeavor, I need you to consider that it's time to take acts of desperate measures. People of the living God, if you'd allow me to talk to you, even if I don't preach to you, this is a concept. Hosley, this is a concept that each of us would be wise to immediately embrace and accept, because you must remember, Hardy, you rocking with me? You must remember that 2024 is indeed the year that God's spoken for, that he says we're going to get more than what we ask for. Is that what he told us? He told us at the beginning of the year, and he was quite clear, Sister Alicia, that 2024 would indeed be the year that we get far more than what we ask for. Hence, I'm convinced that what we just cannot ignore is that in this season, this is your season to rise up. This is your season to leap up and soar like you've never soared before. Woman of God, maybe this is true just for you. I said this is your leap. 2024 is a leap for you to year for you to leap up and soar like you've never soared before. Believers, you must remember that for years now, I've spoken it, and Hosley, maybe we need to get it trademarked and put it on some t-shirts, but I've told you for years now with conceptual or contextual candor that down was never our destination. Down was never our destination, but a temporary location from which God was going to give us transportation and elevation into some far better situations. Did you catch it? Look at your neighbor and speak it on with favor. Say, down has never been your destination, but it's a temporary location from which God is going to give you transportation and elevation into a much better situation. Do you believe it? Now, people of God, back in the 80s, maybe I'm dating myself. I'm just a little bit older even than First Lady. And back in the 80s, y'all might not believe it, but I was on Dance Party. It was a dance show in San Francisco. Y'all laughing like y'all don't believe it, but y'all laugh. Yeah, just because I don't do that stuff, y'all do. But I had something, you know. I'm telling off on myself. I was on dance. I got video. I was a bad boy, Soul Train. They had nothing on me, Jack. I promise. Every week they were saying, "Come on back." So back in the '80s, if I'm not dating, Hardy, what you laughing too hard? Jarrell trying to act like he holding it over there. Pastor Hosley, excuse me. Back in the 80s, y'all may not remember this. Mom Beverly, she helped me last week. Maybe she'll help me this week. There was a secular sensation. Pop Beverly, I'm glad you on the third row today, but you got it. There was a secular sensation, a group called McFadden and Whitehead. Somebody said, yep. Oh, Murphy. I forgot about, Murphy, no. I should have known. Murphy, no. McFadden and Whitehead, and this is what they said out loud. They said, ain't no stopping us now. Here's the lyrics. Ain't no stopping us now, we're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now, we've got the groove. Watch what they said. There's been so many things that held us down, But now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long, long way to go. And if you ask me where we'll end up, the truth of the matter is, you know that, Mom Beverly? They went down, I don't know. Y'all don't know about that. But I won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting ourselves together. We're polishing up our act. And if you've ever been held down before, I got another witness. I know that you refuse to be held down. Oh, y'all ain't always been saved. Alicia back there rocking like I'm trying to hold it together, Bishop. You're taking me there. Her and Big Mike used to be, yeah, I got you. I'm finding out who's in the church now. People of purpose, I got you. So when generationally I sought for some someone modern day who would agree with me, Hardy, that this is the season that has been set up for us to get up, I was able to pull, maybe some of the millennials will go with me here, on the melodic prophets. These were some melodic prophets by the name of Prophet Remy Ma and Fat Joe. And they let us know nothing can stop us because we're all the way. What y'all listening to and doing the week? Yeah. Nothing can stop us because we're all the way up. And this is indeed a concept, my brother. This is a concept, indeed a concept worthy of attitudinal adoption, because hence what now we must understand is leaping to the next level really has no other option. Look at your neighbor and say, this is a concept worthy of adoption. And leap in this season of your life like you've got no other options. And when read in review, I'm almost through. When read in review, wasn't this really rather true relative to Mom Beverly? What a woman in the book of St. Mark, chapter number 5, verse 25, who was dealing with a 12-year-long infirmity issue. And Lady Hosley, she woke up one morning. She just woke up one morning. What morning, like any other morning, daughter Toy? She woke up one morning. Tanya, she woke up one morning and she decided that what she now needed to do. You see, despite the critical nature of her condition, she actually made a decision. Despite the pivotal nature of her condition, Javar, she made a decision that this was her day to make transition. Yeah, and I can really only wonder now that this has been mentioned, if there's anyone seated in here whom has given this at least the slightest bit of attention, and today you've decided, I'm going to make a decision. I'm making a decision to make my long-awaited, greatly anticipated transition. Anybody feel like that today? Now, please take note, and I promise I'm almost done. Please take note that around the city, can I teach this thing? Around the city, Lady Hosley, her sickness had become a joke. Everybody was talking about her, wasn't trying to help her. They were around the city, her situation, her sickness had become a joke. In fact, the Bible denotes that this ailing, travailing woman trying to get a break, she actually went broke. Y'all need to read the Bible. I said while she was trying to get a break, she actually went broke. Look at your neighbor and say, she went broke trying to get a break. So knowing that all, Trajan, knowing that all her available natural resources, even her medical benefits, had been exhausted and used. Her access for more services had also been refused. By my estimation, mother, of her situation, she leaped one day like she had nothing left to lose. People of God, listen here. Let's just be clear that for 12 years she had been struggling with these issues, but she decided on that day she was going to leap like she had nothing left to lose. For 12 long years she had been battling with these issues, but on that particular day she decided to leap like she had nothing else to use. For 12 long years she had been captivated, incarcerated by these issues, but she decided on that day, Taya, that she was going to leap like she had nothing left to use. You see, right in front of them all, because some of us don't have the privilege of suffering behind the scenes. Right in front of them all, she literally leaped out and grabbed a hold of the master's hem. And per what the text projects, we are told that because of her faith, she had faith enough to leap. She immediately was healed and made whole. You see, being delivered, Mom Pooh, being delivered became her most earnest endeavor. There was, because being delivered became her most earnest endeavor, there was just something down on the inside of her hearty. She could no longer defer. So she heard, I believe, the Spirit of God tell her, leap now or leap never. I said, I believe she woke up that morning and she said, there's something down inside of me that I cannot defer, so I'm going to leap now or I'm going to leap never. I'm going to say it again until it gets all the way in. I said, I heard her say, come on here. She said, there's something down on the side of her. There was something down inside of her that wanted to be delivered, so she decided, I'm going to leap now, I'm going to leap never. Believers, here's what's true, that deep down inside of you, there's healing that you can no longer defer. And God said, you've got to leap now or leap never. There's a revealing that you can no longer defer, and God said you've got to leap now or leap never. There's a deliverance experience that you can no longer defer, and you've got to leap. Watch this, Rich, you got to leap now, you got to leap never. There's a come through, a way through, a breakthrough that you can no longer defer. So God says leap now or leap never. You want your issue to be delivered, you've got to leap now or leap never. If you want your go through to be delivered, you've got to leap now or leap never. If you want your infirmity to be delivered, you've got to leap now or leap never. Am I helping anybody? Allow me to place this, and I promise I'm almost done. Allow me to place this on the mortal membranes of your mind. In this season or in this time, you must be inclined and ready, resigned to put everything you've got on the line. Oh, I don't think y'all hearing me. I said in this season of time, you've got to be willing to put everything that you've got on the line. Just turn and tell somebody sitting next to you that you can find, and tell them, this time I'm putting it all on the line. This time I'm putting it all on. Oh, I know. I feel your spirit now. I know that the leap is a little bit scary. But in this time of your life, it is, oh, so very necessary. Trinell, you're rocking with me, daughter. I said the leap is scary, but in this time of your life, Jamani, it is oh so very necessary. Look at your neighbor and say, yeah, it's scary, it's scary, it's scary, it's scary. I'm looking over the edge of it. It's scary, but it's also very necessary. Coming out is scary, but it's necessary. Walking out is necessary, very scary, but it's necessary. Standing up, getting up is scary, but it's necessary. Showing up, jumping up, leaping up is scary, but it's also very necessary. In fact, watch this. In fact, while these next steps will seem to be just a little bit unsteady, while your next steps, tell your neighbor, your next steps may seem somewhat a little bit unsteady, God told me to tell you and quite a few even of your neighbors, it's risky, but in this season you're ready. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Keep walking steady even though it's risky. God says you're ready. Keep talking steady. God says because even though it's risky, you're ready. Keep, watch this, living ready. Keep steady. Keep giving steady. Keep standing steady, because mother, watch this, it's a little risky moving from where you got to move from. It's risky, but God says you're ready. Leap in this season like you've got nothing left to lose. Are y'all okay? Okay, now, because this is my second ecclesiastical appointment or assignment of the weekend, it's with my most earnest intention and ambition to, and with your perceived permission, that I move these sermonic suppositions in rather rapid transition. Are you ready? And while it's really not, Joanne, it's really not all that deep, when I utilize the word leap, let me go back and tell you what I told you last week. Leap means to jump or to spring a long way. To jump or to spring a long way to with great height or with great force. Leaping means it's an act of intense, quick movement upward, forward in earnest attempt to elevate. Leaping is the act of vaulting for the purpose of exalting. You still with me? And when I utilize the word nothing means not anything or no single thing. Left means that which is remained, that which remains after the rest is gone. It's what you got left after everything else is gone. It's what you have left. See, we cry about what we lost instead of looking at what we have left. Don't you listen to that woman, the widow woman who God had to correct her when she said, told her, hey, bake me a cake. And she said, all I have left. I didn't ask you that you only got a little bit. Don't look at what you lost. What I want to do is know is what you're going to do with what you got left. So left is that which remains after the rest is gone. Lose is to be deprived or to suffer or succumb, defeat or loss. Now, if these rather distinct and definitive definitions are to be heralded as being indisputably true, then a very simple sermonic synopsis of what I've been anointed, appointed, or even assigned by the divine to share with you, I must insist, is this: are y'all ready? Okay, and so, believers, might I mention or call to with candor to your attention that this year, wake up your neighbor and say, this year, we've been called upon to jump. We've been called upon to spring forward in a manner exhibiting that there's not anything or not one thing is now remaining, watch this, that we can be deprived in our lives. Are you hearing me? Might I further and or additionally authenticate and communicate that this is our moment that necessitates, this is the moment, Joanne, that necessitates that we all make, all of us, Tanya, all of us, Jawan, all of us must make or take a break in a quick upward motion to elevate. Like there's not one single thing to be lost. I can't get no help in here. Left to be lost. Now, if in fact you allow me to speak it with weighted words of wisdom, but by no means, Hosley, and for no reason are we postured and positioned to succumb. In fact, despite our fight, y'all still in here? We shall all overcome. You hearing me? You see, this is not the session. Daughter, this is not the season for us to balk. Okay? It's not the season for us to balk, and neither is it the season for us, Wendy, to just talk the talk. But this year, God said we got to rise up, leap up, and walk. Now, this morning, and I'm almost done without going into much detail, once again, I asked the Lord to utter and unveil just where we as modern-day Israel now find ourselves in personified perpendicular parallel. Are you ready? And it was then when, Hosley, it was then when he turned my attention to what we find mentioned in the book of St. Luke, chapter number 5, between verses 18 and 24, if you ever dare to explore. You still here? Per what the text said, Lady Hosley, there were just a few men. Can I teach this thing? I'm almost to my text. There were just a few men, Hosley. There were just a few men, daughter Wendy. There were just a few men. There were just a few men whom moved as led and brought a broken brother. Can I call him that in church? Yeah, he was a broken brother. They brought him to Jesus' revival. Watch this, while he was yet laying prostrate on his bed. Okay, they brought him to the revival regardless of his condition. Okay, and they brought him, they moved as led, but they brought him, my brother, they brought him. No, I'm talking so much to you, but I believe that God brought you here for a reason today, my friend. I need you to understand that, watch this, they moved as led, and they brought him while he was laying there on his bed. Believers, please see that this gentleman's injury or this gentleman's infirmity was what the text refers to as the palsy. Can I teach? And when medically analyzed, Lady Hosley, when we medically analyze it, when it's medically analyzed, what we all need to realize is that this was yet another person, or yet another brother whom was found in a condition and he was paralyzed. And for years, Mampu, he struggled with, watch this, he struggled without artificial assistance. Without artificial assistance to arise and go the distance. Now, once his status of paralysis was established, the question was, what would he, Jeff, or what could he do about this? Once they found out that his status was paralysis, his prognosis was paralysis, the question was, what is he going to do about this? So the text would insist that Jesus, the ultimate evangelist, was on the other side of the city. Have y'all read this before? Where are my Sunday school alumni? Jesus was on Hosley, we can talk about it in the office, but Jesus was on the other side of the city in the midst of a healing and deliverance service. However, by the time they got the broken brother there, they could not find a way to get him through and into the church or into the facility anywhere. So the Bible, Mom Beverly, expounds that they lifted him up off of the ground, climbed up on the roof. Tear the roof off anyway. They climbed up on the roof and they open a hole and proceeded. Now this is going to be important, Lloyd. They proceeded to let him down. I'm going somewhere, Lady Hosley. Pray me through right here because this might get a little bumpy, but they're going to need to ride through the storm with me. I said they cut a hole in the roof. And Jeff, I'd never seen it like this before. And these were brothers who loved him enough to bring him. But they loved him. But they were also the ones that let him down. Okay, watch. They loved him. They loved him, but they were the ones who had to let him down. You'll catch it when you get home. Now, what's unpopular, Trajan, but rather profound, is that these were people who loved him, who first had to let him down before Jesus could turn things around. You see, in God, sometimes in God are letdowns, are situational setups for inevitable and incredible get-ups. I can't get no help in here. And while we often take a position of disappointment, what you must realize and simultaneously recognize is that certain sessions of our lives, this is going to help somebody, the people or the individuals, okay, who were appointed to pull you to a place are not the same people who are anointed to be there when the Lord pulls you through the place. I don't know if they called it, Lady Hosley, because we so busy crying over who walked out and who left and who ain't here and I'm not being shady because I ain't got time. I promise I don't. But sometimes the people, watch this, Rich, the same people who were appointed, hear the key word to take, they were appointed to pull you there. They are not the people who are anointed to pull you through there. I can't get no help in here. In other words, they did their job. Stop letting people say, well, you did this, you did that. But no. You did your job. You pulled me to the place. But God didn't anoint you to watch God pull me through that place. I can't get no help in here. Look at a person, too, that you can talk to and say, the people who were appointed to pull you to may not be the same people who God anoints to be there when he pulls you through. You done come through now and you're looking for where's Johnny and where's Susie and where's Sally. They were only anointed to get you there, appointed to get you there. They were not anointed to see you when God pulls you through there. I can't get no help in here. Hence, I'm convinced, and let me stop meddling for a minute, there's no need to cry. There's no need to sob. Because as I said a moment ago, the truth of the matter is, Hosley, they did their job. And now the Lord himself, they did their part. Now God says, watch me do my part. Yeah, now the Lord himself is turning the proverbial knob. They did their job. Don't cry, don't sob, because now God is turning the proverbial knob, and he's opening up the door to give you more than what you asked for. Now, people assembled there were shocked. Am I teaching okay? People that were assembled there were shocked because what they did was a little bit unorthodox. And right before their eyes, Jesus told the man, take up your bed, arise, leap up, and walk. Believers, the Bible says that not long after Jesus stopped talking, the man rose up and he leaped up and he started walking. Not long after Jesus stopped talking, the man was walking. Not long after the prophet stopped talking, the man was walking. I can't get no help. Hardy, you standing better than I've seen you standing in weeks. Not long after the prophet stopped talking, the man started walking. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You see, despite the inappropriate efforts he and his buddies chose to use, this man decided that today I'm going to leap up because I've got nothing left to lose. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. God is releasing us from old issues because we got to leap. And we got to leap like we got nothing left to lose. Today, God's going to release us from former issues, so you got to leap like you got nothing left to lose. Today, God is releasing us from previous, grievous, even tedious issues, so you got to leap like you got nothing left to lose. In fact, let me look you in your eye and prophesy. Stop talking and just start walking. I can't get no help in here. Look at your neighbor. Stop all that talking. Tell them, say, stop all that talking and just start walking. You may not see victory right now, but just keep walking because it's working. You may not see the prosperity right now, but just keep walking because it's working. You may not see the fulfillment of prophecy right now, but just keep walking because it's working. You may not see your day with destiny just yet, just now, but just keep walking because it's working. You may not see your way out, your way through, your come through. Watch this, your breakthrough, but just keep walking. Tell your neighbor, just keep walking because it's working. You may not see the end tail of the issue, but just keep walking because it's working. You may not see what God promised you. You may not yet see what God purposed for you, but tell your neighbor, just keep walking because it's working. For your family, just keep walking because it's working. For your marriage, just keep walking because it's working. For your relationship, your courtship, your friendship, your fellowship, just keep walking because it's working. Although it's been hard, just keep walking, it's working. Although it's been hurtful, just keep walking, it's working. Though it's been heavy, just keep walking, it's working. And you've got to, watch this, to refuse for not to let God deal with your issues. Watch this. And you got to leap in this season like you've got nothing left to lose. 5 minutes and I'm done. So once again, my family and friends, I feel my weekly sermonic sense of urgency to now move rather rapidly and with all ecclesiastical expediency towards the point of place of my clerical closure, because I feel like a few of you are now ready. And so all of this, I must very earnestly insist, Lady Hosley, watch this, requires us to give the furtherance of our fullest focus to our conversational, situational, topical text here in the book of Acts chapter number 14, from which we're going to glean the following all essential things. Are you ready? Now, as this particular chapter is broken open, if I can teach, even if I don't preach, it's conceptually or contextually broken open. Please take note that this was the conclusion of the Apostle Paul and Barnabas' first missionary journey. Can I give it in context? If Hosley was teaching, he would make sure that you understand that this was their first ecclesiastical missionary journey. Are you with me? And as we track them, Mom Beverly, they are currently in a city, or they're in, Lady Hosley, a vicinity called Iconium. They're in the area or the vicinity, or dare I say the city of Iconium, which interpreted in the Hebrew, might I tell you, Iconium was a place known as the coming or the becoming. You'll catch it on the ride home. I said they come to a place of Iconium, and Iconium, Trajan, was a place of coming or a place of becoming. Let me say it again until it gets all the way in, because it went over about 3 people's head. I said Iconium in the Greek was interpreted to mean the place of coming or the place of becoming, which gives us further insinuation or indication that this was a location of anticipation for what God was going to bring into manifestation in this situation. Did you catch it? So they come to a place now where they're situated and where greater things can be anticipated. Now, might I tell you that when read, Brother Rich, in review, what we find to be true is that the text would insist that Paul and Barnabas, whom were God's anointed, appointed evangelists, are openly addressing the issues of the Jews. What did I say? They're openly addressing the issues of the Jews while simultaneously now beginning to speak the word of God to the assembled Greeks. Y'all look sleepy. Y'all good? Okay, about 3 minutes. Here we go. And the word they received caused the once exiled Gentiles to now begin to believe. Hosley, draw close because I'm almost there. Now, while many enemy entities did all they could to create a diversion. Anytime God is bringing conversion, the enemy wants to bring diversion. Okay, but they came anyway into a place of corrective conversion. Now, because of the power of the word that was being provided, the citizens of the city were now extremely divided. Are you with me? In fact, there were some Iconium leaders whom were so misguided, even extremely angry, Lady Hosley, about them being delivered, about the exiles being delivered, that the text made it known that the Jews wanted the Gentiles to be immediately stoned. Some people would rather see you die than you come into the place where God has prophesied. The Bible lets it be known that they wanted the Gentile stoned. However, despite their not so clever endeavors, Paul and Barnabas did not stop preaching Jesus. In fact, per what verse number 3 decrees and unfolds via the text, we are told that they spoke the word of God in a manner that was a bit brash, if not bold, and signs and wonders then followed. Now, the next several verses, as I cut up through corners here, the next several verses would declare that once their adversaries were made aware, the Gentiles decided to leave there. And the Bible said they went to a place of Derbe or Lystra. Derbe or Lystra is where they fled. You still with me? It's going to be important. And I really just believe, Hosley, I believe that God allowed their survival in order for them to continue this region's revival. He allowed their survival, Lady Hosley, because he wanted to continue the revival. You see, they survived so other people could be revived. Look at your neighbor and say, maybe, just maybe, God allowed you to survive because he's going to use you to revive somebody else's life. I can't get no help in here. Look at your other neighbor and speak it on one favor. Say, maybe, Trinell, maybe, Pop Beverly, maybe God allowed you through this last season, through the pandemic, to survive, because he's going to allow you to bring revival to somebody else's life. Now, perhaps right here, it's imperative that I make it abundantly clear and communicate that the definition of Lystra or Lystra was a place that both frees and liberates. So they came from a place of coming or becoming. Now they're in a place that they're located where a place that frees and liberates. Y'all still here? As we arrive at verse number 8, Paul and his partner now encounter this man who was crippled from the time he was being nursed on his mother's nipple, which essentially says to me he was dealing with an infirmity of his infancy. You see, he had this wound from the time he left the room in his mother's womb. In fact, the Bible makes it known that this man had never, ever, Javar, walked on his own. And here's what we find as I go to my close. We arrive at the rather rich recitations of verse number 9, even find outline through verse number 10. The Bible says that when we check in verse number 10, watch this, because healing had not yet been received. Checking in verse number 10, it's with infirmatory or affirmational insight that Paul spoke to the man and he told him, stand upright. Told him to stand upright, and almost immediately the Bible says that the man leaped. Believers from birth, his legs were diffused, but at the command of God's man, he leaped like he had nothing left to lose. From the time of his birth, his motions or his movement, Alicia, had been diffused, but at the command of God's man, he leaped up like he had nothing left to lose. Joanne, from the time of his birth, this man's motion was diffused, but at the command of God's man, he leaped up like he had nothing left to lose. You see, Paul and Barnabas spoke faith to his feet. I told you I was going to get back to that. Paul and Barnabas spoke faith to his feet, and all of a sudden the man, Lady Hosley, just leaped. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I said he spoke faith. They spoke faith to their feet, okay? And all of a sudden he had enough belief to rise up and leap. And this is essentially what the Lord, Hosley, I'm ready. The Lord himself assigned me to speak this week. He said, Hosley. He said, yeah. I said, yeah, Daddy, you and me. He said, Hosley. I said, yeah, Daddy, you and me. He said, Hosley. I said, yeah, Daddy, you and me. He said, on Sunday, when you stand yourself up in the sanctuary, it will be oh so very necessary that you speak faith to weak feet and encourage them that this is their year to leap. What did you say, God? He said, Hosley. I said, yeah, Daddy, you and me. He said, Hosley. I said, yeah, Daddy, you and me. He said, when you get there Sunday, it will be oh so very necessary to speak faith to some weak feet and encourage the people of God and tell them it's time for them to leap. God says, after all of this time, I must speak faith to your feet and command you to leap. After all of these years, after all of your tears and fears, Janelle, I've come to speak faith to your feet, and God told me to tell you to leap. After all of the issues, all of the go-throughs, Lady Hosley, I'm so glad you made it back this week, because God told me to speak to your feet and tell you it's your season to leap. After all of your injuries, after all of your infirmities, God told me to speak to the feet and tell you it's time to leap. After all your addictions and afflictions, contradictions and restrictions, I've come to speak to some feet and to tell you it's your year to leap. I've come to speak faith to situations that are weak and tell you God said leap. Wendy, I've come to speak faith to locations that have gotten weak, and God told me to tell you to leap. I come to speak faith to circumstances that are weak, and God told me to tell you it's your season to leap. Hardy, I've come to speak to finances that are weak, and God told me to tell you it's your year that finances are going to leap. I've come to speak faith to ministry that has gotten weak and tell this ministry it's our year to leap. I've come to speak to families, mama, daddy, cousins, sisters, aunties, nephews, and nieces. I come to tell you, though you've been weak, I've come to speak faith to your feet and to tell you it's your time to leap. I've come to speak to marriages where things that have gotten a little weak and tell you, watch this, it's your year to leap. I've come to speak to relationships, courtships, and friendships, even some fellowships that have gotten a little bit weak and tell you that it's your year to leap. I've come to speak to every person in this building who has been yielding, has been unyielding. I come to tell you, though you've been weak, this is your year to leap. Look at your neighbor and say, this is my year to leap. Although my limbs have been weak, this is is my year to leap. Although my finances have been weak, this is my year, and I've got to leap. Although my location has gotten a little bit weak. In fact, God told me, Lady Hosley, as I laid in the bed last night, it got in my head last night that I come to years. I come to talk to people who for years have struggled to walk, but now, unlike any other time ever, I believe that at least 5 of y'all are looking forward to getting better. Who am I talking to? Tell your neighbor, say now, more than at any other time later, I believe I'm ready to get better. And even though I've been a little bit weak, this is my year to rise up and leap. Yay! Though you got legs that you've never used, this is your year to leap, because you got nothing left to lose. Tell your neighbor, I'm about to use what I've never used, so I'm gonna leap like I've got nothing left to lose. And in this moment, might I also prophesy, my brother, and project that God told me to come to church today and tell you, you got to leap from what has been your birth defect. Who am I talking to? I said I come to speak to some people who have been going through neglect and tell you that God is empowering you to leap, because he's about to correct your birth defect. You were born broken, but today God wants to correct your birth defect. You were born bitter, but today God wants to correct your birth defect. You were born bruised, abused, misused, but today God wants to correct your birth defect. Lean over, grab your neighbor. I need y'all to grab him. Grab him by the hand. Shake your hand like they're gonna shake it off, if you can, and say, today what you can expect is God is about to correct your birth defect. You were born wounded, but today he's gonna correct your birth defect. You were born infirmed, but today God's gonna correct your birth defect. You were born with a limp, but today God is going to correct your birth defect. You were born a little heavy, unsteady, but today he's going to correct your birth defect. Wave. I'm almost done, lady, I promise. Wave your hand all in the air like you just don't care, and say, today I expect God to correct my birth defect. I've had it since I was born, but today my life will no longer be worn. God is going to correct my birth defect. I'm not blaming mama no more. I'm not blaming daddy no more. I'm not blaming my city no more. I'm not blaming my birthplace no more. I'm not blaming old relationships no more. I'm not blaming old relationships, courtships, friendships, or fellowships no more, because God has opened up some brand new doors, and he's going to correct my birth defect. Lean on your neighbor and say, I insist I was born like this, but I don't want to be like this. Not anymore. I refuse to be lame for the rest of my life. Yeah. Tell your neighbor, I refuse to be lame for the rest of my life. And I choose in this moment. What day is it, Lady Hosley? The 10th. March 10th is the length of me lacking strength. March 10th, that was the God. March 10th is the last day of me being absent of my strength. March 10th, that ain't in the notes, is the last day I will walk without strength. March 10th is the last day I'm going to skip without strength. Last day, March 10th is the last day my finances won't have strength. I refuse to watch this, to be misused. I'm going to leap because I got nothing. I got nothing left to lose. That's why God put you back in school, because this year you gonna leap, girl, like you got nothing. Like you got nothing left to lose. And God's gonna bless every seed. Lean on a neighbor. Rock them and shake them. Shake them and rock them. I said lean on a neighbor. Rock them and shake them. Shake them and rock them. And say our destiny will no longer be refused. So I'm gonna leap. I'm gonna leap like I got nothing left to lose. Come here, David. His wife got mad, but he said, girl, you don't even understand the issue I had, so I'm gonna leap like I got nothing left to use. In fact, tell your neighbor, I'm making moves because I got nothing. Who was that for? I said, tell your neighbor, I'm making moves. Mother and father, you're making moves because you got nothing left to lose. In your situation, make the move. You got nothing left to lose. At your location, make the move. You got nothing left to lose. At your place of habitation, make the move. You got nothing left to lose. In your career, make the move. You got nothing left to lose. In your atmosphere, make the move. Make the move. Grab somebody by both of their hands and say, make the move. Because you got. Tanya, make the move. Dansby, make the move. Smith, make the move. Chanel, make the move. Jeff, make the move. Hosley, make the move. Rich, make the move. Jamania, make the move. Adriana, make the move. Pop Beverly, Abby, make the move. Mom Poole, make the move. Uncle Richard, make the move. Milwaukee family, make the move. Alicia, make the move. Tanya, make the move. Toy, make the move. Sister Toy, make the move. Cooper, make the move. Hardy family, make the move. Murphy, make the move. Martha, make the move. Rakina family, make the move. Jones family, make the move. Mom Beverly, Mom LaShore, Wendy, Javar, Trajan, Lady Holder, we gotta make the move. Why? Because we got nothing. Tell your neighbor, I'm dangerous. I'm dangerous. Don't mess with me this year, I'm dangerous. Because I ain't got nothing left to lose. I already lost people. I ain't got nothing left to lose. I already lost money. I ain't got nothing left to lose. I already lost some so-called friends. I ain't got nothing left to lose. I also already lost some frenemies. I can walk where I need to walk. I can go where I need to go. And I refuse. Because I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing. Pop your collar, say, I ain't got nothing. Talk about me. It's cool. I ain't got nothing left to lose. Lie on me. I'm cool. I ain't got nothing left to lose. Scandalize me. I'm cool because I'm going to leap like I ain't got nothing left to lose. Criticize me. Ostracize me. Minimalize me. I'm cool because I ain't got nothing, not one thing else to lose. I dare you to leap. I got nothing. I got nothing. You may not want to speak to your enemy, but the next time you see your enemy, no, I'm not running I'm running too. When you see him in Safeway, when you see him in the mall, and God's gonna bless every seed. Tell your neighbor, my destiny will no longer be refused, because I'm leaping. You're back and you're better. And you're leaping. Tell your neighbor, I ain't arrogant, but I am confident. Trajan, you're back. Tell him I'm back. I'm better. I'm stronger. More powerful. I'm going to be better than I was when I left. I'll be better than I was when I stopped. The injury did not stop me. My destiny will not be refused, but I'm leaping. I'm leaping. Leave. Got nothing left to lose. Watch it. If you do it, God's gonna bring you through it. Now clap your hands as fast as you can. Give God glory in this house. Rest on your feet if you're not already standing. Lloyd, this is your leap year. And God said, leap like you've literally got nothing left to lose. The Bible said the man had never walked a day in his life. So he was doing something that he had never done before. That's why it's desperate measure, because I'm doing something in this season that I've never, ever. Look at your neighbor and say, you're getting ready to do some stuff in this season that you've never done. Trinell, he's breaking us out of the comfort zone. It won't be comfortable. I heard God say just now, it won't be comfortable, but it's going to be incredible. Look at your neighbor and say, it may not be comfortable, but it's going to be incredible. And what I didn't, and he took my notes, and I'm glad you did, but if you keep on reading into that next verse, that last verse, he says, the text would insist, mother, that when God gets through doing what he's going to do for you, ain't nobody going to be able to say nothing but, God did this. Tell your neighbor, say, when I get through leaping, everybody's going to have to insist. God did this.